This is our intermediate knot tying and suturing curriculum, and as you can see we have a variety of surgical instruments here. For the first drill we're going to use this knot tying board that has a suture or a tie and a hole type of apparatus. The board is velcroed down to the bench, and for this first exercise we will use a 2/0 silk ligature that is 30 inches in length. I will get it comfortably in my hands, and the time will start when I'm ready to place this inside the cup. So I'll reach over, start my time, and then place this around this post inside of the cup and start tying down my first knot. We can use a one or two-handed technique. I will then place 2 additional square knots, taking care to alternate my throws and alternate my knots. And then the exercise is complete with the tying of the final knot. As you can see, there is a 1 millimeter black target line on this post, and there is a gap of about 2 millimeters between this target line and the ball at the end of the post. And one objective is for this ligature to be tied snugly between the ball and this black line. We also will measure a gap type of an error, and if the ligature is loose it can be pulled onto the post, and I'll show that in the pitfalls to avoid, but we expect it with a gentle tug on this ligature to remain firm within that target zone. So we will measure accuracy in terms of how many millimeters this ligature is, either if it is touching that black line, then we will give at least a 1 millimeter accuracy error, and if it is on the other side of the black line on this side, then we'll assess additional penalties. Once the exercise is completed, we'll take a scalpel actually to cut that out. So we'll do another example real time. I'll have the suture strand in my hands like this. I will then enter down into the cup, pass it around the post, start tying my first flat knot, pull it snug, make sure that I'm in the target zone so I won't get accuracy errors, and then alternate my hands and my throws, and then I have 3 square knots. Then again we'll score this, and we'll look closely if there's any accuracy penalties or if there's any air knot or gap. And again, my suture ligature strand does not pull or slide on that post, and then I'll cut it out and go again. I'd like to now demonstrate some pitfalls to avoid. One pitfall is placing the ligature outside of the target zone. As you can see here, I'm well outside of the target zone, and the correct procedure would be to pull it within the target zone. But if I'm unable to do that and tie down my knots outside here, so there'll be a considerable space between where my ligature is placed and that target line here, resulting in a substantial penalty. The other pitfall to avoid is sometimes it's relatively difficult to move your finger all the way down into this cup and to tie the ligature tightly. As you can see on this close-up shot, that I have a substantial gap between the loop of the ligature and the post itself, and if I pull on this, quite often it will slide freely along the post. So if that happens, then there's certainly an air knot or gap type of an error, and that will result in a penalty. One other pitfall is that even if you place the ligature accurately but you don't cross the strands initially, let's say I do it like that, and let's say I don't alternate my hands or the direction of my throws, but simply place the same knot several times, resulting in half hitches, then that is assessed as a penalty for slippage, since these will not be square knots.